A suspect accused of making anti-Asian remarks toward an undercover officer is out of police custody tonight. 35-year-old Juvian Rodriguez was released yesterday. He was arrested Friday night for allegedly shouting racist remarks and threatening to stab an undercover officer outside Penn Station. Under the state's bail reform laws, the charges against Rodriguez are exempt from monetary bail. The arrest is part of a new undercover operation that Commissioner Shea talked to us about yesterday.
Two different incidents in the last week involving undercover Asian officers walking around that either witnessed a hate crime taking progress or were themselves the victim of it. Arrests immediately made, and I commend them for being out there.
Rodriguez is charged with harassment, menacing, and possession of a controlled substance.
Well, Christina Maurice, police were called to this building, 766 Madison Avenue, at least a half dozen times in the last year, amid reports from tenants that suspect was actually squatting inside this building. Well, just last week, that suspect was identified as Terrell Shaw. They say he attacked Asian women, and tonight he was found dead inside. Investigators spent the last few weeks warning people to be on alert for this man, 25-year-old Terrell Shaw, who they said was randomly attacking Asian women. In the past week, they pinpointed this block at Madison Avenue and East 66th Street as somewhere he might be hiding out. Karen DeRosa said officers came to her door asking if she had seen him.
They just asked if I recognize this person. I see them walking around the neighborhood. And I did not.
Late Monday afternoon, sources close to the investigation say they found Shaw dead inside an elevator shaft, hanging from a noose. Karen Bennett works on the 5th floor of this building.
This morning when I came in at about 8:45, it smelled terrible in the elevator, and it still does.
Bennett says she and her employees had several run-ins with a man matching Shaw's description. She sent us these surveillance photos of a man she believes is Terrell Shaw breaking into her office this past fall. She says it happened at least 6 times.
One of my coworkers encountered him. He just picked up his phone and walked out when he encountered him. Couldn't even stop him.
Police.
To some breaking news tonight, an arrest has been made in the brutal beating of an Asian couple in Tacoma. This arrest coming just days after video of the attack was released online. A warning, the video is graphic. Tacoma police confirmed in the last 30 minutes they have arrested a 15-year-old. They say this attack happened in November and the victims did report it. When police saw the video this week, they say they didn't make the connection.
Begin with a live look at San Francisco and Oakland tonight. That's where the 2 different Asian Americans say they were attacked. Good evening, I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Juliette Goodrich. One of the victims, a pregnant woman sitting in her car. KPIX5's Betty Hughes spoke with both victims and has the shocking video of the attacks. Betty?
Juliette, the victims told me that these were unprovoked attacks, and they decided to share their dash cam videos to make sure others stay vigilant. In both cases, they did not know their attackers, and they believe these separate incidents are racially motivated.
This dash cam video captured the moment a man walked up to Tina's car on 14th Street as it approached Broadway in downtown Oakland Friday morning. He then spit on her face. Tina was sitting in the passenger seat and telling her husband not to get out of the car.
The car window wouldn't go as fast as we expected, so by the time he got close to me, he had already had spat in the car and on my face and, taunting us to get out the car to fight him.
Tina is a healthcare worker and 7 months pregnant. She says she washed her face immediately and took a COVID test.
Do you believe that this is racially motivated, this incident?
Definitely. If you look at the video, I think he had already targeted our car because he was walking straight towards our car. Our windows was down. There's other people on the streets. He didn't provoke anyone.
This past Wednesday in San Francisco, an Asian driver was pulling up to the intersection of San Bruno and Silver Avenues when he told me this man approached his car and yelled expletive Chinese before spitting on the windshield. He says the man then walked to the driver's side where the window was halfway down and spit on his face.
Don't drive with your windows down or windows up. Always be aware of your surroundings. Just protecting yourself, just being more vigilant. And if possible, have pepper spray.
Tonight, yet another brutal attack against a member of the Asian community. It was caught on camera here in the Bay Area. This time, a man in his 50s beaten in Oakland's Old Town. KPIX5's Betty Yu spoke to the victim and the witness who recorded the attack.
The video begins with a struggle on the sidewalk. You can see the suspect punch the victim in the head repeatedly. This happened on 10th Street between MLK and Jefferson Street in Oakland around 7:20 this morning. The Asian victim is in his late 50s and didn't want to go on camera. He tells KPIX5 he was on his way to get his morning coffee when he was attacked from behind.
The perpetrator was sitting on top of the victim, holding him down physically and landing blows to his face, his chest, and the victim was struggling, screaming for help. It lasted maybe 20 to 30 seconds as we were yelling for, him to stop.
Angela, Chuck, and her siblings tried to distract the suspect and called 911. After the suspect hits the victim yet again, you can see him go after his attacker, chasing him into the street. The suspect hops into a car and drives off. The victim says he suffered bruising and swelling to his face, and the suspect wasn't successful in taking his wallet. Angela Chuck is in town visiting her brother.
I have been warning my brother to be extra vigilant and to be careful, but Betty, it is an entirely different experience seeing it firsthand right outside my brother's window. It was chilling, it was disturbing, it was unthinkable. It was horrifying.
The family hopes in sharing this video, someone will recognize the assailant. In Oakland, Betty Yu, KPIX5.
That's right, Ken. It was not. Patrick Thompson has a lengthy arrest record here in San Francisco, according to a law enforcement source, and many of his offenses over the last 2 decades are for violent crimes. A law enforcement source provided this surveillance image to KPIX5. It was circulated among officers to find the Market Street double stabbing suspect. Today, police identified the man as 54-year-old Patrick Thompson. A witness snapped this photo of the same person from the back moments after the attack at the bus stop. His victims, 84-year-old Chui Fong Ing and a 63-year-old Asian woman.
All you see is just a big silverish part in his hand, and just kind of like brass knuckle style because it's over the knuckles.
I saw brass knuckles on the end of it. I couldn't tell you how long it was because a part of it was still in her.
According to a law enforcement source, Thompson has been arrested more than 24 times in the last 20 years. He was placed under a psychiatric hold at least once. In 2019, he was arrested for battery. And we've learned in 2017, he was arrested for stabbing a person at this homeless shelter on 5th Street with a pair of scissors. Police say it was another unprovoked attack. He was picked up by Tenderloin officers yesterday on Eddy Street near Larkin and booked on charges of attempted murder and elder abuse. Tonight, Ing is still recovering at the hospital after being stabbed in the arm and chest. Her grandson said she needed a breathing tube after the knife cut her lung and rib cage. Her GoFundMe page has raised more than $70,000 in less than 24 hours. Her family calling her the ultimate fighter. And tonight I reached out to the family of that second victim, the 63-year-old woman, and understandably they're asking for privacy during this difficult time. Ken?
Betty, you reporting live. Betty, thank you for that.